Hello, wrenches, and welcome back to the Wrench Turners Podcast, 10 Mil Mastery Edition. It's a show where the lads and I discuss relevant topics to service leaders and mechanics and come up with maybe solutions or ideas or life experiences that may help you guys live happier, healthier, and more productive on the shop floor. On today's episode, a little bit different, we're starting a book club. Let's get into it. Reading on the first book. And the first book that we're reading together is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. And you can find it on Amazon, you can find it in Indigo, or wherever place it you can basically buy books. Now, this book happened to be given to me, this very book happened to be given to me to a very good friend of ours, my wife and I, and more importantly, he was a mentor of my wife. My wife's a chiropractor, as some of you may remember. So Dr. Knight gave this to us a while back. So when the lads chose this book out of about the 9 that I put in front of them, so to speak, I had forgotten that he gave it to me. And when I opened the first page, and I got teary-eyed because I had forgotten that he gave it to me. But I'm going to read a little tidbit out of here that I want the gentleman here to reflect upon. And then as the series goes forwards, and you're going to see one in just about every series going forward, we're going to discuss each of us what we have, the thing that we really brought from the page or from our ears to our head that really resonated with us a lot. And let me go back here to the page because I've lost the page because I picked it up.
What's the page number, dude?
Give me a second. I had my gold star here marking the page, but I for some reason pulled it out before I moved on, and Dr. John had it highlighted here, so I gotta find it again. I don't know where it is. Anyway, so let me summarize. Let me see if I can summarize here quickly because I'm delaying too much, and if I can't get to it, not there. Maybe I. No. Oh, here we go. There's the passage. So it's page 21 in my book. And this book was printed in 1978, so you may or may not have the same passage on the same page. And it's under primary and secondary greatness. Okay, and this is something to chew on. Perhaps in utilizing our human capacity to build on the foundation of generations before us, we have inadvertently become so focused on our own building that we have forgotten the foundation that holds it up, or in reaping for so long where we have not sown, perhaps we have forgotten the need to sow. So what Stephen is saying in here, at least in my perception, is that generations before us, whether we're talking about being a mechanic or not, but generations before us have done a lot of work, effort, time, energy on building techniques, processes, policies, whatever the case may be, so that we can be as successful as we are in our current predicament. But given the current circumstances where we have been reaping the benefits of that hard work, I think in a lot of cases, not all cases, but in a lot of cases where we come up against a wall, we forget that we too must sow some new processes, policies, procedures, so on and so forth, so that the next generation can continue to reap the benefits of it. What is your take on that? Is that something you agree with in the current climate, or is our generation continuing to sow just like the generations before us? What say you, Marshall?
Well, I think I mean, I feel like we're reaping what we've sowed for sure as far as an industry. As far as with our technician shortage, things like that. Not just technician shortage in general, but just labor shortage, maybe blue collar shortage. because over the years we've made it seem like these aren't profitable careers, or that being a janitor at a high school isn't an important position. You know, being an electrician or an HVAC person is not an important career. Um, I'll tell you, the first person you call when your toilets plug up is the plumber. You know, they're darn important when you need them. You know, HVAC person, if you live in the South and it's hot, and you call HVAC person at 3 in the morning and that joker shows up, they're darn important when you need them. But over all these years, we've really reaped what we've sown by telling all these kids that the only way to make money and to feel valuable is to go get a degree at a college that's going to take you most of your life to pay off. We've really we're really reaping what we sowed now.
I agree. There's definitely a
So
societal aspect, and I think it's starting to become truly known how much of an impact that statement of, you're not going to get a good job unless you go to university or go to college and get a degree or whatever the case may be. I think there's always been a stigma behind working with your hands, like it's less valuable, and I can understand why, because you know even from the registrar's wellness survey, the feedback in terms of the incomes versus age, incomes versus training, is indicative of mechanics who aren't making a whole lot of money. When 80% of the population of that survey makes under $80,000 a year, irrespective of how many years they've been in it, doesn't seem compensatory to the amount of time, energy, effort, blood, sweat, and tears that they've put into the trade that has provided them a living. I think that there is such a need for developing business acumen, negotiation skills, communication skills in any trade, not just our own. Like, we have such a need for that that's just not there, not being given, especially at our own trade schools. Like, for example, going to automotive trade school in Canada, we got no business training. None. Absolutely none. And when you happen to be in a skilled trade where you might be solo, like a plumber or an electrician, where a majority of that electrician population is solo, they have no business acumen at all. They get no business training at all. It is literally sink or swim. And they don't have the financial outlay that we as mechanics do in terms of the tools required to do their job. Now, are they required to insure themselves? Yes. But as we spoke about in the last episode, talking about doing your due diligence as a mechanic to insure your own tools, do we have to insure our own tools? For the most part, yes. Do we have to insure a truck and liability and things of that nature? No, but plumbers and electricians and HVAC folks do. And I think we as a population of skilled tradesfolk, whether it's turner wrenches or sparkies or shit fixers, uh, we need to do a better job to communicate to the younger generation that we're here to help you as much as we can and actually be there to help them. Richard, what's your thoughts? A, on the passage, and B, on the grander scheme of things.
Uh, I'm in line with Marshall. We're definitely reaping what society has sown right now at this point in time. There was the big push for STEM, like that science, technology, engineering, and math. There's still there still seems to be a huge push for it, but more and more people are pushing back. We have a growing technician shortage in Canada. There's a huge technician shortage in America. We're gonna see it grow. unfortunately, it's not going to get any better. It's going to get really bad before it gets better. And the OEM isn't helping with this, the EV push lately, right? As well, like that's not helping at all, because you have these OEMs that are coming out and saying how much maintenance is going to be reduced on these vehicles, right? So it's like, well, what's the future of that? I even had my former high school tell my daughter that they're no longer offering shop class because they don't see it as a viable future for their students. So that outlook and view needs a change. It it for years it was basically promoted that the dumb kids ended up going to trade school, right? But then you see, like, yeah, you see smart people, becoming doctors and everything else like that, and then you see how much in debt they are, and they are six figures in debt, and they see no way out, right? Like you see some of these guys you're talking like after you do your 8 years of schooling, it's like 15 to 20 years to pay that loan off. That's a mortgage. Like, I think definitely going forward, we need to promote the trades. We need to promote them heavily, because like Marshall said, who's going to come and fix your toilet at 3 o'clock in the morning? What's gonna happen when you're home alone and your toilet tank cracks? Do you have the know-how to deal with that? And it's not even just being a mechanic, right? It's not even being a tech. It's that it brings on a different learning capability when people learn not intuitively with their hands, right? Like, yes, some people succeed and excel at learning out of books, but even doctors have to get dirty and get their hands in a patient or something like that, right? So there's still hands-on learning. Tactile learning is extremely beneficial for quite a few people, and a lot of the times they're getting better now at looking at it. But like when I grew up as a kid, like if I grew up now, for sure I would be diagnosed with ADHD, for sure, right? Because I didn't excel in some courses. I was easily distracted. Some other, like, my teacher engagement got me engaged with that, but my teachers that engaged with me in class, I did well in them. My teachers that didn't engage with me, I did horrible at those classes. And then as it went further forward, I excel at being a technician, right? But I think we need to look at the future generations, and really need to push and promote the trades, because the further we get down the line, like, I don't know how many people I run into now who have never popped the hood of their car. Oh, there's somebody for that. Or they've never, picked a hammer and a set of nails up and built a deck off the back. They've never picked a sledgehammer up and demoed a wall, right? I think people need to start working outside the box that they've been placed in, and start progressing from there. But yeah, for sure, going forward, like, we really need to start basically preaching the fact that the trades aren't a how
That
do
was
I
a
describe
bad
this?
word.
They're not they're open to everyone, right? Everyone is welcome. It's not, you don't want to. Yes, you walk into a shop now, and the unfortunate part is the majority of shops you walk into, at least in like Canada, are gonna be Caucasian males in the shop. The majority of them are going to be that, and that's just the fact, right? But more and more shops are becoming more and more diverse, and I think we need to focus on that. We need to let people know that, do you need to put some sweat equity into the job? Yes, you definitely need to, but that sweat equity isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? It's, everybody has to pay their dues at some point. Some people are unfortunately paying their dues to the tunes of, 6 figures worth of debt that they're never going to climb out of. So I think, yeah, Mike Rose has a ton of amazing stuff on this topic, and I think we need to start pushing the needle back towards, more focus on practicality and getting people back into the trades, and getting people, interested in working with their hands again, because not everybody's going to be able to take their bachelor of business or whatever the hell they're going for and go out there and make any money. They're going to be going out there and going, do you want to supersize that, sir?
Mm.
While they're paying their mortgage, their heavy loans off. So yeah, I think we need to start pushing the needle back and start getting, opening up people's eyes to the fact that, these trades are for everybody. I'll take anybody into my shop. Like, if they are a competent, knowledgeable person, sure, come work for me. Like, let's see if you're interested. And I think that's, people don't understand that, especially on the automotive side and HD, everything right now, we're on the cusp of, like, everything is changing. We have EVs coming out, we have biofuels, we have natural gas, we have, all these different technologies that are all racing right now for a lead. So it's pretty exciting, but you gotta, the yeah the classic mechanic is a, like, that image needs to be changed. So
I think it needs to be changed in a big way too, because with the advent of biofuels and new technologies and BEV and PHEV and EV and all the new forms of energy sources, it's going to take individuals with higher than average intelligence to be able to operate, let alone diagnose and repair. There is always going to be a need for repair, whether we're talking about mechanics or not. There's always going to be a need for repair. I referenced the Star Trek and Star Wars on Kaylee Filio's Particle podcast. Like, they're mechanics 500 years from now. Like, that's all they are, and all of the technologies that at least much of Star Trek is related on is based on theoretical knowledge that we have today. If these things pertain or end up being true based on the current theories of certain physics and chemical knowledge, stuff's going to happen. It's going to evolve. So what we drive, how we're transported is simply going to be a continuous evolution of energy sources and mediums with which we travel. That is not going to change. Like, in the foreseeable future, in the next 2 to 500 years, what we drive and how we drive is going to change. But there's always going to be personal transportation. There's always going to be bulk transportation or mass transportation of some kind. There's always going to be stuff to fix, air conditioners and water pumps and all kinds of different technologies that operate. They all need to be fixed. They all need to be diagnosed when they don't work and fixed when they don't work, or provided real skilled knowledge of what it operates like to create new evolutions of that product. Engineers are simply the theory behind what a mechanic deals with for a living, right? So great engineers, like that are referenced in our science fiction, are mechanics with next level intelligence. They've got not only the hands-on application of what it's like to fix them, but they understand them so well that they can design new stuff, right? Like, that is the principle as evolution of our industry goes forward. So, reaping what we sow, and remembering that we have to also sow so that we can reap. That cycle being completed is vital, so that the next generation, the generation after that, and the generation after that can continue to thrive in our industry. And I think it's up to us to make sure that we are shouting that as loud as we can from the rooftops. So I appreciate your input. We can talk about that some more. I'm looking forward to getting some of your individual feedback from the book, and the rest of the 10 mil lads getting their feedback, because this is a really turning out to be a really awesome book. way more heady than I anticipated it being, which is awesome. Because I figured it would just be, one of the original self-help books with bullet points and, bits of faff in there to carry you through. But it's real world stuff talking about someone's experience in changing. And, Stephen brings up the example of him and his wife trying to change how they raise their child, and how children, sorry, and how it's changing how they do business, how they learn in relationships, so on and so forth. So I can't wait to get your individual thoughts and things that stand out to you versus what stands out to me. And anybody listening and watching right now, it's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey. So check it out on Amazon. You want to follow along with us. We're gonna try, and every time we sit down and do a Tenmo, we're gonna do one of these where we talk about the book. And as we progress through the book and we finish the book, there'll be another book. Because I think, as we discussed in one of the last episodes, in order to accomplish our goals, we need to learn. We need to learn something. So this is kind of my way of saying, hey, we're not just talking the talk here. We're walking the walk. We're all learning something to better ourselves and hopefully better our trade. So I appreciate y'all for listening. And it was another great episode. Cool. Oh no, that's the end of another episode, Wrenches. That's okay, because there's another one coming next week. Folks, we appreciate you. We hope you enjoy and subscribe. Remember, negative pushes, positive pulls, and always clean your toys before you put them away. Hello, Wrenches, and welcome. Oh, fuck me. Fuck. That's not even. Jesus. It's like I'm new or something. Like, Jesus. Nope. Nopers. Nobody nope.